Here we are with another Friday Night Live, Friday, June 10th, 2022. And another beautiful day in the Greater Teal. Let me just do a sound check here. I think it's good on this side. If anybody's on, give me a thumbs up so you can hear me. Cheers. Just having some wonderful kidney tea. Lauren, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you here, Lauren. How can you join the live with me? Very simple, Lauren. You joined the Zoom call. It's the instructions are on the masterfastsystem.com website. You go to the menu and you'll see Zoom protocol, and it has the number and the password for the Zoom call there, Lauren. See if I can give you the link. Give me 1 sec. She'd probably find it faster than me. What's going on here? Link. There's the link. Has a number and everything there. Cheers. It's much easier to talk through video and only instead of writing everything out. That was quick, Lauren. Can you hear me? How you doing?
Hi. So this is gonna be really interesting. First of all, I just thank you, for everything that you do, because I stumbled into this protocol like a year ago, and I've been really behind the scenes because
haven't seen you before.
kind of good at that. But I never had the intention to hold back. It was more like my inner being was like, there's more, So I've done over 108 master fasts. I'm 23 years old, and
you mean consecutive days?
so I did a total completed of 4, and I'm on my 5th. But within this 5th dry fast, within this 5th master fast, I'm actually on day 8 of a dry fast. So
you done 408 days? Is that what you said?
So I've done a total of over 108 days.
Oh, a total, okay.
Non-consecutively, because I know that this is a lifestyle. This is not an event.
Right, excellent.
This is a tool that we use for eternity. And so I never looked at it as, okay, I do the 108, I'm out here. Go awesome. Eat what. This is something that is your life. So my just a little background about myself, because I know you have that intro message of like, what's your name? How old are you? Do you take medications? You know, I,
Well, we don't know anything about anybody, right? Unless we start
right.
this
And
introducing each other and so on. But
yeah,
you know, we don't have to go through everything here, but just a quick background
right.
so we have an
That,
idea.
yeah,
If you,
that's totally what I'm doing. I'm gonna do.
yeah, awesome.
So I'm 23 now. I did my first master fast, which I stumbled into after juicing. My history, I have been very similar to you, where I have tried most likely virtually every diet out there. And just like cacao kicked your booty and the
Oh
high
boy.
fat, what kicked mine was keto before keto was a thing. And I did keto. I'm not talking where you have these options that you go and it says keto and you look on the bread and the first ingredient is whole wheat. Okay. Total, I don't understand. But anyway, I did keto before it was like even really a term. And so when I did it, it was like butter, like pork fat, like no carbs. I swear I probably almost died. Just like how your friend, you know, left and, you know,
Yeah.
moved on. So I really, when I commit, I do it. I do the master fast. I invest in the 12, you know, whatever's the highest thing, because I'm going to do it full on. And so also thank you for being with me with this, you know, the
Oh,
dry
that's
mouth.
what we're here for. Thank you so much for you
Yeah,
joining us, because that's what we're here for. You know, we
yeah,
inspire each other. You know, me on my own, I've been living this lifestyle for a long time, and I can keep doing it on my own. But you know, the satisfaction comes when you can help one soul, one person. You know, make an improvement in their life, because so many people are hurting, and it's getting worse and worse every year that goes by. It's pretty sad, but
it
you
is.
know, it's our emotions that take control, and we 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 fall into the programming trap because we're all being programmed continuously, and so on and so forth. So it's awesome. Thank you for you know, being here.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just want to say thank you as well for obviously like doing what you do, because you get to a certain level where you feel like, okay, this is happening and it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. But who else has potentially gone through this? Because I'm on day 8 and this dry mouth thing from this dry fast, like I watched your videos that probably have like 300 views of you on day 8 going like this dry mouth and you know, and I was like, yes, someone's there with me right now. So let me backtrack just a little bit, but I also wanted to put that in there because it's very rare and it's very appreciated. So I did all these different diets and none of them were working. They worked maybe for a little and then you plateau and then you feel worse and then you go into this spiral, and you know, it's not very fun because then you're doing it on your own. And me, I started this journey like 10 years ago. I've been doing this since I was about 13 because I was an athlete.
Wow.
So I know
Where are you from? What area are you from?
I was born in Ohio, same as Ellie Tom Elamine. Um, but I moved out of there and I moved to California where I got my neuroscience degree at the University of Southern California. So I was,
Scientist.
yeah, so I was out there. And then during that time as well, after I graduated there, I was still living in California, just not downtown LA because I don't like the city, you know. So what happened is I moved to the Valley and then I moved to Beverly Hills. And then now I'm in Northern California in the mountains at 6,000 elevation, which is perfect for the moisture in the air for this dry fast, which happened unintentionally because I was doing the master fast for my 5th master fast, day 3. I thought, okay, let's start my 24-hour weekly dry. One day turned into 2 days, turned into 3 days. I said, well, now I'm more than my seasonal. So now's the time to just see what this has in store. So let's do it. So I did 5.5 days, just like you. I didn't even know that this was gonna happen. But I did 5.5 days dry. So I didn't touch water or anything. And then I broke to a soft dry or a wet dry with beauty water that I use from my one machine. So it matches the pH of my skin, but it's just water. It's just a different pH. So I've been like spraying that. And then the next day I've been doing cold water plunges in the lake. And the lake is like 50 degrees. And so now I'm on day 8. And I told my
what was your longest dry prior?
the seasonal.
Yeah,
3.
how long? 5 days, 3 days?
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And dry. It was, yeah. So and that was throughout the master fasts that I had done. So I had done my first master fast, which I did after. So let me just go real quick into the steps of the background of like where I've been and just boom, real quick. Now we're here. So I don't have to backtrack. So I was an athlete into bodybuilding. I did fast pitch, basketball, all the sports, team captain. How can we like be the best of ourselves? I'm like a perfectionist. I've learned not to be, but like when I do something like a protocol, I'm doing it kind of deal. And I think you're the same way because you want results, you want documentation, you want to have something for everybody to guide. So anyway, I was the athlete and then I got into bodybuilding, which led to meal prep and like, very clean eating, brown rice, chicken, and broccoli, whatever. So then after that wasn't working because I still have, obviously, okay. But back then I was like, why isn't that working? So I did the bodybuilding diet. Then I did like low carb. Then I did, if it fits your macros, the macrobiome, whatever. Then I stumbled into keto. That took me off the charts. That was like, I want to do this and I know it works and you have all this documentation about seizures and such, but I got to a point of like, my body couldn't handle it. And I transitioned to then like adding in sweet potatoes and kind of like a, just whole foods thing while I figured it out. Then I got introduced to this water, which led me to veganism because I stopped craving meat. So I then had this medical water device, which I still use like for my enemas, for my beauty water, for disinfectant, just like ozone, all that. And then vegan led to Dr. Savy, alkaline vegan, led to raw vegan, led to fruitarian, led to liquidarian. Then I started a 6-month juice fast. Now, I didn't know that we should be doing enemas. The psyllium and the bentonite clay and the activated charcoal is very important because you're stirring up this cesspool and you're marinating in it because you're not having the elimination. There's no digestion, there's absorption, utilization, but there's no elimination. And for that reason, now it's coming out of your third kidney, your skin. Great.
What kind of juice did you use for that 6 month?
I was like a kid, I juiced my own everything. And so whatever I felt like doing, I did, but it was 100%. 98 of it was fruit juice and the other 2% was green juice when I felt I needed to put the brakes on a little bit. So that was 6 months. And that I was following like John Rose. So when I broke that, I broke it with the soaked prunes. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but anyway. So that was the 6-month juice fast. And then this is where it got really interesting because I thought, well, what's after that? And I found in this master fast group that I was invited to divinely, it's just, I got plopped in here because it was in the cards. Thank God. And I found the Grape Cure book. I read that in one day on the day before Christmas. I didn't want any presents. I just wanted to read the Grape Cure. So I read that, but I knew about your story, Gino. I knew that you had done the grape juice and you really had a hard time on your kidneys.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, now let's look into what is this master fast protocol. So I thought for Christmas, I'll buy the protocol and I'm going to start now. So that's what I did. That was my first master fast and I did 40 days.
This past Christmas?
Yes, I believe so.
Mhm.
So what my pattern kind of is, because the 6 month juice fast was 2020. And then the end of, I think it was like, I don't know, it could have been 2020 or 2021. You know how like the days really get messed up when you're fasting. So it just becomes like one consecutive day because it's just your operating procedure. So anyway, I started and I did a 40-day master fast. I didn't do it perfectly because the one time I had prunes and then I got right back on it. So maybe it was like 2020, like 20 days. And then I had like the prunes and I thought, well, I'm not clear, but this mucoid plaque is coming out of me. So I'm going back to continue.
Wow,
That
you
was
were
a,
able to do that after breaking it and then getting back on? Okay.
yeah. And at that time I didn't have all the tools. I didn't have the herbs. I had to make my own. So I would, because I was in Ohio at the time and I had to go to the Urban Bulk Foods. This guy was amazing. He had all these little packs of individual herbs and I was like, make the kidney tea, so I did a bunch of like that with what I could, with what I had, because I knew I was going to do it. So that was my first master fast. Then the second master fast, I moved out to California and I did a full 70 days consecutive. And it was from February 2021 until whatever 70 days is after that. So whatever.
What are you doing in between?
In between, at that time it was all fruit and it was just like I wasn't satisfied. After my 70 days and since, I haven't experienced physical hunger. So it's been there was one point where it was hard because, and it was just before this one, where I realized how addictive that can be, not just from the seeds of emotion, because everything stems from, but because you have no guide, because you're just able to actually live on what is, because you've cleaned so much. And it's just like you don't have this indication of when you want the hunger or when it's done. It's just eat for the experience. And that's it. And that's what I did. But then it kind of, and I say this lightly because everybody's going to be like, that's your kind of falling out. And it's like, not, it doesn't sound like it, because right before this, the fifth one, all that I had was one day I had, everything was vegetable on the pizza, but the pizza was made out of rice. And then the other day I had just rice, white rice with the nori. And I think it was like mushroom, avocado, and cucumber. And I as soon as I had that rice, I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is just, I can't. And it's like, no. So I'm going back on the master fast. And then it led to this dry fast. So after the 70-day one, ever since that, what is it, February, March, April, like mid-May 2021, no physical hunger. So then this dry fast, not saying it's been easy, because you get this dry mouth, you get every once in a while kidney pain. I had this weird thing happen today where just out of nowhere my gum started bleeding, and I think it was because of stress, because it got so hot today, 80 degrees, and I was just like, I felt like, okay, I need to go home. And this is like my setup. I jump in the lake and I do the cold there, but then on my head when I get home so I can sleep, I put my head in this cold water here. So I kind of lay here, either I kneel down or I go on the couch and I put my head in here.
Mhm.
And that,
Are you overheating?
just today. Just today.
Yeah, because that's what happens, with 80 degrees is not really that hot. So when you're dry fasting, you're going to build heat if the body's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, as the days go on, I do feel like I'm getting more heat. Because I told myself after I then broke the dry with the soft dry, on 5.5. I said, let's go to 7 and reevaluate from there, you know? And so day 7 hit, and day 7 is kind of like, you're like rejoicing a little bit, you know, it feels like you completed like the first phase. I don't know if you've read the Phoenix Protocol. I don't agree with everything everybody says in one full book, unless maybe I write it. But but there are bits and pieces that you take and you add to your toolbox and you use, and it can come really in handy, as I know you know. So I passed day 7, and then I knew if I go past day 7, I'm going to enter the second phase, and I'm probably going to be, you know, experiencing a new load of symptoms, and I'm going to reach out to Gino. So that's where we are. I already have an idea of how I'm going to break it. I knew that, okay, when I got to day 7, I said, well, let's shoot for either day 9 or 12. And then play it by how you feel, you know? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all we do. We you know, day by day, it's a new experience, and we just learn to embrace what the work of the soul is doing, because we have no clue. We really have no clue. We don't know nothing. As the
Right.
years go by, the more years go by, the more I see we know nothing. So why try and figure it out? You're not going to figure it out. Good luck. It's surrender to the divine.
Yeah.
Allow it to happen. Embrace it and be prudent. Don't make any stupid decisions, because it's easy to fall into that wonderful space when you're in a dry fast, because everything feels so good, but it's a place where you can get in trouble real fast. The term we use is drowning in your own filth, when you're not, you know, you have not been prepared enough cleaning and so on and so forth. So that's why we highly suggest people take their sweet time, make this a lifestyle, and just continuously expanding a little by little over time. You know, now
Right.
that you're in this long dry fast, just be very, very prepared mentally on breaking it very, very proper.
Yeah. I have an
Very
idea.
slowly.
I mean, I've seen what you've done. I've done my, of course, research, and obviously gotten a few downloads as well. And I'm planning on, just like, you know, you would break your master fast with the sodium baking soda and your lemon juice, you know, that's how I'm going to break it, with that. And then the juice I'm going to add to that, because melons are really in season. Is it? No, it's over 3 years ago. In 2019, I did a 30-day watermelon fast during this time. Because they
Eating
were,
it.
well, I did 30 days just watermelon. Out of the 30 days, 2 weeks was just juice. And
Oh,
watermelon, the sulfur that came out of me, oh my God, that was nuts. Sulfur, it was yellow. And like, I was eating watermelon, so you kind of know, you know, because it looks red, you know. So I'm thinking of when I do, you know, slowly ease out of this dry fast here, I'll break it with the sodium bicarbonate with the lemon juice, and then have the foam there. And then I'll add, if I can find it, whatever's more ripe, honeydew juice added to that, or cantaloupe. I haven't seen seeded watermelons around, so forget that at this point. But that's how I'm planning on breaking it, with that. I wanted to with the Concord grape, just like you would your bubbly, you know, but the grape was just too strong right away. After this really dry for the first initial, you know, at least that's how I'm feeling. I would love your obvious opinion on how to go
you
breaking it.
can, yeah, you can use any of the other juices
Yeah,
that you prefer. You know, we're using the power of the dark juices because
yeah,
they're very good at cleaning.
right.
That's what we use them for. We use them because they're very good solvents. So you know, breaking a long dry fast, you got to be really careful, because what happens with people, they start even just starting drinking the juice, they start getting edema and stuff, because the body's overwhelmed from all the obstructions the body's been working on to try and move out. And now you got to move them out. So even the juice is like, holy geez, what happened to me after you start drinking the juice?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Be very, very careful, and let the body adjust very slowly back into it. But doing it with a juice that's not as strong as a cleaner, yeah, I don't see a big issue with it. See how it goes, and he can always start drinking some grape juice or watermelon juice or whatever.
Yeah, I have it ready to go.
You can also mix them.
I'm
with some of the
prepared, like I
lighter
got it. I got it, and
Yeah,
just in case.
That's why there's a shortage. Welch is
Don't tell anybody. There's more up there, actually. But yeah, so let me turn this around. So what do you think? Because I've been having this idea too. What do you think about breaking it with, the bubbly, but instead of the grape, let's say whatever other juice, like you in your one video, I think you use maybe like pomelo or something, whatever. So after that, then going into like a herbal tea instead of the grape juice, and then doing an enema, like the herbs.
Yeah, I would use the herbs, because they're going to help keep the channels of energy flowing.
Right. And I kind of want to I don't want to say stir up, because that would mean the grape juice, right? That's like a little too much for me. I have the Super 12 still, I'm still good. And I was thinking break it with that bubbly stuff, and then continue with the herbal tea, sipping it just as if it were grape juice throughout that day, then do an enema and kind of continue more that way, just for like until I feel ready for like the grape, because there's going to be a lot coming out. Just on day 8, today, I've obviously urinated twice, and the urine is brown. Like, it's not apple juice. It's brown.
Lots of sediment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So why I'm saying that is because if I go right to then the grape juice, that I just feel that's like too much, because there's going to be so much still coming, eliminating. So you think the herbs are fine?
Absolutely. It's in the protocol.
Okay. All right.
We everything that's in the protocol we have there, because that's what we want to use. If you start seeing some edema, guess what? You got to do lots of enemas.
And that would be because where's the edema coming from?
Well, edema is the body was holding on to fluids to dilute we'll call them obstructions, right? Toxins, whatever, but obstructions covers everything. So the body holds on to extra fluids because it's overwhelmed with obstructions. And, when you're in these long dry fasts, the body's doing a lot of work, and it's got no way to flush them out as when you're drinking. It's doing things differently. It's doing things that we don't fully understand. It's doing things through the fields instead of through matter. And so when we decide to break these dry fasts, we want to help the body and aid it and move things out as quickly as possible, just like when we're doing with master fasting. That's all we're doing, except, we're going back and forth to the dry. This master fast is a glorified dry fast. We're always supporting the dry fast. That's what master fast is. I don't know the Phoenix thing you mentioned or anything, but it's, when was that book written, before or after master fast? Because there was not much information prior to us releasing master fast out there. There's only one book on dry fasting.
Master fast takes the gold. I mean, I'm just hinting at little things where I've gained some tools, and helpful helpful support in a way
Absolutely.
through the
It's
Phoenix Protocol book that I'm specifically referring to the section where it talks about it sections out each day, and it tells you day 1 what's going on, day 2, day 3, day 4. And that's the only part really that I feel is like that guy nailed that part. And so day 8, he was talking about how it starts this second phase, which I really felt, and it
well,
goes.
yeah. Like I said before, if somebody's trying to figure out exactly what's happening, I
Yeah.
sway away from that stuff myself. And everybody goes through a fast. It's a unique experience every single fast.
Oh, yeah. I just said that to somebody. I said, no fast is the same.
Yeah, you may have similar things happening, yeah, for sure, but every single fast is a new experience. So that's why
Yeah.
I said as more years go by, the more I see I know nothing. So that all we're doing in the MFS realm is sharing our experiences. And with everybody sharing their experiences, a lot of similarities. And there's not much that I haven't heard of, or a question I haven't heard of from in these past, it's coming on to 7 years that we started sharing this, and been doing this different forms of this lifestyle for a long time. So like I said, the more time goes on, the more we know nothing. And just the key ingredient is learn to embrace what the soul is doing, because it knows exactly what to do, because it's being driven by divine. And you can't beat that. I don't care how many white jackets you have or how many certificates you have.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
sorry, but nobody's going to compete with the divine.
Yeah. Experience. Oh, that alignment is it words don't even do it.
That's right,
It's,
exactly.
yeah.
So, it's great to listen to everybody's experience. Yes, I'm all for that. That's why we have this platform, so people can continuously share their experience, because it's maybe one word or a sentence you say will help somebody, well, one person. And we've seen that happen over and over and over. That's why I'm still here 7 years later. So if anybody wants help, we're here. It's but what I've been finding, especially in these past 2 years, is people have been putting off their health even more, to a greater degree that I haven't seen before. It's crazy, but that's what's been happening from what I've been seeing over on this end.
I
And
agree. I'm saying the same thing.
people feel lost and without hope, and they feel helpless, I guess, in a sense, with everything that's been going on. And now's the time to, now's the best time to start fasting. It's always the best time right now, because
Like
that's the
planting a
time.
tree,
Yeah.
that saying about the best time to plant a tree, that saying, right? Was
Yeah.
today, this time is whatever. So going back to what you said about the edema, right? If you're breaking it and you notice that that's showing up, I want
Don't be alarmed. Don't be worried.
no,
Just
no,
do
I've
enough
actually dealt
awareness.
with edema from salt, because when you do
Oh yeah.
for 6 months or whatever, and then you have a little tiny bit, not only is it way overstimulating, but you feel it in your kidneys, you see the puffiness, you get the arthritic, like, and it's just no thanks. Salt, yeah, I'll pass on that. Himalayan salt, your table salt, your kosher salt, I don't care. Your salt from
Stay away from salt.
that,
It's very dangerous after a long dry fast.
yeah. But why I want to go back to that is just to kind of pre-position where I'm asking this question from with the enemas after a dry fast is about how long, from your experience, would you say is most beneficial from when you break with, say, the bubbly to then having your first enema of a long extended dry fast?
Yeah. Well, a few hours at least, and then you're slowly sipping. You want to get some fluid through you from this end, right? That, because that triggers things to move out that way. And
Right.
that's what we want. Because if we're doing this first, then the body is going to go, whoa, and it's going to start holding on to these fluids. And we don't want that. We want the action to start going down that way. So this starts that. So we break it with the bubbly. We can do our tea, kidney tea. Slowly, you're doing these things slow, and then you're sipping on whatever juices you want, and just get, in a couple hours, you should be able to get at least a liter through you, and then you can start doing your enemas and move things out. That's what usually happens when you're doing these dry fasts regularly. As soon as you break them, you'll be going to the bathroom. You have a bowel movement. That happens a lot.
That reminds me, it's kind of similar of like when you go in the ocean on a soft dry, and then, after you are able to urinate. Like it kind of tells the body that like there is, yes, moisture here. Like we're not starving, we're not deprived, so we can release more. I feel it's maybe similar.
Yeah. We don't really understand everything. Like people think that the body absorbs water through the skin and all that.
Right.
We have no clue what's going on.
Right.
I have the little understanding about everything's done through the fields, and that's a whole different ballgame when you're working with fields than with matter.
Yeah.
There's no common sense in the way things are explained in science. It's all theory. It's all somebody's idea.
Yeah, my third master fast, right? The first one was 40, the second one was 70, the third one was 40 again. And that one, the fourth one was then 30, and now I'm on the fifth one. The third one, where I did 40 days, I got so into the space technology Keshe Foundation videos. I kid you not. I was like, yes, give me that information. So the fields, 1,000%. When he used the example in the kids' videos of like an egg, I was like, wow, that was good.
Yeah, the fields are the energy of the divine. That's all they are, and that's where everything is created from. So we can't escape that energy. It's all around us. It's within us. We're a part of it. So let's work with it. Let's work with the little we know. Let's work with it. And how do we work with it? By letting go and allowing things to happen, trusting. Because when we try and do things and try and figure things out, is when we fail miserably. Look at what's happening to the planet, how much destruction we've been doing to this planet. That's because of all the technology and all the knowledge that humans have brought forth. What good is all this technology? What has it done to the planet positively? Nothing.
These during the ends of this dry fast, I feel like with the technology, I just need to like disappear. And in a way, it makes me feel a little resistant towards following through on that, because you're putting yourself out there of like, I'm doing this, and then you disappear and they're like, did she die? So how to even balance with that technology feels like a weird obligation that we shouldn't be placing on ourselves.
Once you get yourself in these high field strength states, as I like to call them, you should be able to handle all this other stuff and not have it take over your life and bother you so much.
Right.
Because the saying that we say in the Master Fast from once we learned is, when you're flying, fly dry, because what's happening in these airplanes, you get bombarded by radiation like crazy. And that air sickness, or whatever they call it, is radiation sickness. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
You'll have none of that when you're dry fasting and you're flying, meaning you're having, at least the day before, and the day before you fly, and then you're flying like on your second day or third day dry. So your body's in that state, but you need to be, you need to have been practicing this as a lifestyle. You just don't start flying dry and you never dry fasted before. That's not prudent. You need to be living the lifestyle. And when you're in that state, you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And I'm hearing from, there's been research has been happening with rats and so on and so forth. There's no ill effect that happened to the rats that were dry fasting, that were hit with radiation. So, this is, I didn't use any science. I used tapping in.
Right.
You don't
And
need,
it
you don't need
happens
these,
naturally. You just have to like be receptive and go with it. Like the
Yeah.
most profound stuff that has happened, at least for me, just I didn't really plan it. Like I had the idea, but it just kind of then like presented itself in the best scenario possible where it was just the next logical step.
Yeah. So, just be very careful. If you don't try and be a hero, you're 8 days is a lot. And if you feel that you need to break it. Or, did you say you went into you're not dry anymore? You're doing are you
So
taking anything, any
I
tinctures or anything, or
no no oils, nothing in the mouth, not even brushing wise. I'll wet the brush with my water machine and then I'll dry it off on a towel and brush and scrape the tongue because that can get kind of like,
yeah.
So um no, nothing ingested as far as anything goes. The only thing as far as me now since day 5.5 to here is doing cold plunges in the lake, constantly spraying beauty water on my skin, on my face. It just feels like a breath of fresh air and I really get a deep diaphragmatic breath and I feel like I'm centered. And then I have a oil diffuser that I use so that way it just kind of like allows the calmingness because you're not sleeping very much. So
Are you do you have somebody watching you when you're swimming?
when I'm swimming, there's people around. Yeah, yeah. Nobody's really in the water, but they're all watching because there's nothing else for them to do but go, "What? Look at her! If she can do it." And then the dog goes in. Then why aren't we doing it? And then they're like, kind of going in, being like, "Oh, she's still out there. She's still out there." And then they get in the water like up to maybe like here, and they're like, "All right, never mind." And then they sit back down and they. I I have all the spiritual and physical support there in the water. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because uh I don't know how much dry fasting have you done? When did you start dry fasting?
Well, I've done it ever since starting Masterfast, which was
For about a year or so?
Christmas
Not even a
2020.
year. Okay, so a couple of years.
Christmas 2020. So 1.5
Yeah.
years dry fast, which
Okay.
includes every week of that, the 24 on top of then your seasonal for the month. And then your weekly every single day, even then when I was eating, was around 17 to 18-hour dry fast with one meal. And that was it.
Awesome.
So,
Yes. Every month we're doing the 3 days, and then the season change, we're going as long as we can.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now we're coming up to a season change. So you're basically in that ballpark of doing a
Mm.
season change, right?
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
look.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, you look fine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I feel okay. I do. I actually, because people are probably, they always wonder about weight just because of just having some maybe numerical thing. I don't know why. But
Yeah, you're gonna lose weight.
yeah, but what I want to say is I'm actually not surprised, but just kind of like, oh, that's intriguing. Is from my other master fast that I've done, I would go down to about either 106, 108. I'm 5'3". I'm 23, like I said. So, but I'm not that tall, 5'3", 5'4" about. And I would go down at the end of my master fast as my like end weight of 106, 108, which 108, like I was like, oh yeah, okay, like define, like we got this. So anyway, and then when you reintroduce your whatever and you start going back to getting off the master fast to say like other liquids and some solids of fruit and whatever, I would usually just stay around like 113, 115 pounds, and I liked that. But I would be okay in the 120s. Like I just felt like it wasn't even a conscious thought, I was just operating. So it's interesting to me because on those master fasts, that's where I would kind of end up and then kind of bump a little up to and just gravitate at. Whereas now on this dry fast, I'm right now in the 120. I'm at 120. So like I've lost maybe a couple. I didn't start like super whatever, but I had a lot of maybe additional water from like those 2 meals of white rice, which I'm not used to because I'm pretty much raw, aside from steamed vegetables, because I don't like attaching to labels, But yeah, so that's what's fascinating to me is like I'm not skin and bones or whatever. Even if that did come up, I'm welcoming of whatever. I'm just here for the process and the journey, not focused really on the how, like everything's working out. But I just found that like very interesting of being like, wow, well, if master fast, I went like there and I'm here right now. Like that's cool. Like
there's days where you gain weight in the dry fasting days.
yeah,
So how
yeah,
does that happen?
exactly. You tell me, Gino.
It can't be through matter, right? We're not taking anything in.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry about the weight. Did you measure your height? Did you grow at all?
That's what I have, I just pulled out my tape measure before we got on the call and I was like, oh, that'd be, I should maybe do that. I haven't yet. Do you think I should do it now or should I wait until then right before I break it?
Well, back at the beginning when we were, promoting 108 days, many people that went through that gained height.
You're right.
Over 2 women or maybe 3 women went over 2.5 inches, which is a lot. It's massive.
Oh, so do you know what their age was at the time?
Probably older than you.
Yeah. Okay. Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't remember a lot of people that were really young that there's a few, but most people that came to MasterFast out have serious issues and they've been living life for a while. Yeah, there's a few young people that have done it. Yeah, no, this thing, all this starts happening as we shed the obstructions in the body's field strength starts rising. It's just get a few magnets on a table and try and put them together, and you'll see they repel each other, round magnets.
Right.
And that's what we refer to as field strength. The more field strength, the stronger the magnet, the more distance they will have between each other, the magnets. So if you get a stronger magnet, you won't be able to put them as close as a weaker magnet, you know what I mean? Because they're going to have more strength to repel. So as we build our field strength through this lifestyle, that's what starts happening with the physical body. And that's why we start growing.
Oh. See, I got the magnet stuff from the Keshe Foundation, but you just like, wow, that was good. Thank you.
That's how you relate to field strength. This is what we understand. We really don't know, but
yeah,
it makes sense. It's logical. It makes common sense, so that you can understand and put something to it. But Do we really have to know? No, because it's going to happen anyway. So people are growing, people are regenerating, people are healing, and that's all we worry about. That's all we need to worry about. We know this path brings us on the path towards balance every time if you do it. That's the path it brings you to. So how, who, what, where, when, why, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to know the sciences. We don't need to know any of that stuff. People are all stuck in that, and they're not doing the lifestyle because they're waiting for the science, and the science is never going to happen. So just do it. Make it happen. Build the science. Make your kitchen the science lab. Make your bathroom the science lab. Make your life the science lab. Make it happen. Create your own science.
Yeah.
Not
Balancing conduct.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's been a while since somebody come on that they're doing a long dry fast.
Yeah. Sorry for the wait. I'm here now. I'm in the lab. I signed in. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey, and it just feels really good to it feels really good to actually be loving and living it like I have been. It's like there's no resistance towards what you're doing. You're just doing it because you're loving and living it, and that's all you're focused on. That's it. And then you're just seeing this still come out or whatever, and you're releasing. Because for me, even when I would do enemas, I always know that, like, I have the saying, I say, when in doubt, enema it out. Because,
Right.
if
Awesome.
emotion is like, it's the seed of emotion in there, and you release that, you're like releasing that with the enema. And like, you're irritated, go do an enema. You're
Right.
angry, go do an enema.
Yeah.
Literally, if hospitals had enemas, like, this world, I'm convinced, would be full 180. Full 180.
Yeah.
So that also reminds me now, like, on a long dry fast, right? Like, you want to get as much of that crap out because clearly you haven't been eliminating in that solid form. So what would be your take, especially because of like Rana and her background in colonics and stuff, like the time period best maybe between like your first enema to then even doing a colonic?
Well,
Like, I don't want to overwhelm the system, basically.
yeah, you won't overwhelm the system. Washing is only going to help you. So
Okay.
if you had access to a colonic, and you've done your few hours of breaking the fast, you can do a colonic.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have colonic here, right, at home.
Yeah.
That's what we use. I haven't done enemas in a long, long time. Last time was I was traveling in Italy. I use it when I'm traveling. At home, we have colonic set up. We have the Colima and the colonic, so we
Yeah.
can do either one. The
Mm.
colonic is much more water going through you.
Right.
You know, people are anal about enemas. They think it harms the body. So
That's a good
then
joke.
if washing the colon harms the body, then the same logic would be washing the outside of the body would harm. Washing your teeth would harm the body. It's
People
absolutely ludicrous what
are.
people put their belief systems towards. Enemas will only help you. Is there a case where you can do too much colonics? Absolutely. You don't want to be doing colonics for 10 hours in a day. You do a colonic for an hour and a half, that's more than enough for that day. It's a lot of water, going through you.
Yeah. It's a lot of washing. Ring
Yeah.
in the
Your enemas, you're doing, whatever amount of liters, quarts. A Colima, you're doing, 5 gallons at a time. You can do a couple of those, that's 10 gallons. Colonic, you're going to get anywhere from 20, 30, 40 gallons can go through you. It's a big difference.
Also, why I'm asking, again, just another like tool that I've kind of found resonated. On this dry fast, I had like a very flaky, dandruffy, dry top lip. And what I've learned, at least,
Bowels.
well, yes, but I was going to say specifically the small intestine is
Mm.
the top. And so I was thinking, okay, well then let's do, colonics, because enemas do not get all the way up there. You have to do so much more.
Well, it's the lifestyle that's going to get you to move
Well,
that stuff out, right? It's the lifestyle.
I mean, it went away after 36 hours, which my friend had also told me that happened to her, and that's how long it took for her. So again, maybe it's part belief system why it happened. Again, I don't really care necessarily about that how part, but more so of the idea of what came from that is then may focus on more of the small intestine as far as when you wash, so colonics.
Yeah. Well, the colonic or even a colonic, it will not go into the small intestine. You have the ileocecal valve, so it can't go up
Oh,
that way, right? It's only one way
right,
valve. But when you're washing, it's triggering even the small intestine to purge.
yeah,
See, this is where, we break into dry. We're triggering the body to move things out. This is what we're doing. And then we're starting to wash, and we're starting to help the body just move things out, because it has more liquid and more fluid to do things. So it can start moving things out. It's just triggering things to come out. That's all the washing's doing. But this
right.
triggers it, right? When you break it. We don't want to ever break it with an enema
No,
unless it's some kind of
Emer-
emergency kind of thing, which shouldn't have to happen. But always break the dry fast properly, and be prudent. Um,
yeah.
Everything's be fine.
Oh yeah.
Everything's be fine.
What did you feel, if you can recall? Because I know it was a little bit ago, that video, and I'm sure you've done other dry fasts in between, but if you have any real tangible experience of what you had happen between, say, day 9 and you're then 12.
Each day is a very unique experience.
No.
Um, calling each and every day, like I said, every single fast is a different experience. But that first 12-day dry fast was, you remember that one the most, because that was quite an experience going that long for the first time. Every day was profound, I don't recall exactly which days, but there was some days that I woke up and getting up in those numbers, and I could barely move. I had
Mm,
to kind of give myself a little push and start doing breathing, and then start doing my yoga and movement, and get things flowing, the energy flowing, and then bang, the energy would just be way up there. And then the cold water dips, so as you're doing them, they really help.
they,
It's just like, wow.
yeah.
It's magical. That's one thing I really missed, jumping in that cold water was just like, wow, just awesome on a long dry fast. It's
Mhm.
just, there's nothing like it.
I end up going because I can't sleep at night. I sleep actually during the day, and at night I would just go walk and like kind of massage Mother Earth and like kind of go in the water just a little bit, like where you're just in there barely, and you just look at the stars as you're just like making the nines, and looking at the moon and all of that. And yeah, it's just the air even at night is just so refreshingly embracing of like, I'm here for your practice and what you're doing, and living it. And that cold water is just out of this world, day and night. But it gets you through. It gets you through.
Oh yeah, it gives you a boost,
Yeah.
a big boost when you're in these long dries. So as long as you're there and continue doing that. Just be safe, be prudent. Don't do
Mm.
anything stupid. Just when you feel you need to break it, just break it properly and away you go. And then continue on that prudent path of breaking it properly. Because, you know, master fasting in general, we say the breaking of the fast is at least, you know, 1 to 2 times the length of the fast. At least that's how long it takes. I think it's even longer, especially with the longer you go. When you're dry fasting, I don't know, the effects can be, 5 to 10 times breaking, because that's what we're saying is why
But
we call master fast the glorified dry fast, because everything
right.
happens in the dry fast, but you're not going to see it all happening there. You're going to see it, the effects of it for weeks on end happening after that.
But
So
here's the
that's
thing,
why it's very important to break it properly and live
like
it.
when you've been living and loving the lifestyle past 108 days of master fast, or whatever that even number is, you're just it doesn't even necessarily matter to you, because you know that there's so much more to come. It's going to go to 1,000 master fast, 2,000 master fast, whatever.
Mhm.
But when you've been practicing and like just from your own soul being of tuning in and knowing, okay, I'm doing this, for whatever, and then I'll check in, and you go through those processes for so long, and then you hit the point of not experiencing physical hunger anymore. When you are doing a dry fast like this and it comes time to break it, there were no cravings in the beginning. So when you come out of it, all you really want to do is just like sip on your little juice and your tea. um
Yeah, you want to keep nourishing the emotions
yeah,
and keep assisting the body to keep moving things out. That's all we're doing. We're
right,
not eating for hunger. There's no such thing
right.
as hunger as far as I'm concerned. Others have different opinions, but I don't believe in hunger comes through eating. Thirst comes through drinking. So the more we eat, the more hungry we're going to get. The more we drink, the more thirstier we're going to get. So this fallacy of hunger,
Because your
why?
body's water.
Yeah, like when you're doing the longer MFSs, you go through phases that these hunger pangs come and then they disappear. Well, if you were hungry, why would they disappear? You have to ask yourself these questions, because if it's true hunger, it wouldn't disappear. So if it disappears, that means, is it really hunger? If it can't be, because it comes and goes. And so there's many questions that people don't choose to ask themselves. And that's why they just fall into a belief system of what's the going thing out there, what's been taught to us.
Yeah, because
Instead of,
especially in the past, when I notice if there is any sense of what maybe in the past I would have identified as hunger, what I see on the master fast that happens is it's just that plasma pudding almost on top of whatever it's attracted, moving through, because it passes, and then I'll end up going and releasing.
yeah,
So
yeah, you're right. As it's absorbing, some obstructions in there, there's also emotions attached to those, and there's also hungers, the emotions attached to that, whatever's being moved out. And that's why, as you said, you go do an enema and you pass it out and it's gone, because you
right,
remove that information.
yeah,
It's just information. And
no,
people get tastes of things they haven't eaten or drugs they've taken 10, 20, 30 years ago when they're doing these fasts, or all kinds of things happens. And it's just allow, embrace, keep things flowing. That's the name of the game. Just keep things flowing and everything will be all right. Don't try and be a hero, and use the tools. We have a lot of tools.
I
Just,
think you're a hero when you choose to love and live it.
yeah,
So there's
it's the only way. If you're doing it to fix the problem,
yeah,
you're not gonna maintain it, and you're gonna be very disappointed when you go back to food, as we've
yeah,
seen. people go back to food, and then they start pointing fingers at everybody, but looking at themselves in the mirror, because they just don't want to come to the realization of what's been happening and what's going on. Everything comes to the surface, and you have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're there naked when you're in these
Own it.
it's all there for you to see if you want to see it. If you're trying to hide, you're going to make up all the excuses. So do you want things to be revealed? Do you want to really heal? Then keep going. Keep living and loving it. If not, go back to your old lifestyle. Simple. And some of us will go back to our old lifestyle. It's just, we're here for many different experiences in this realm. Who's to say it's right or wrong? It's but pain, misery, and suffering. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Really not fun. And you see people that taking themselves out for stupidity. That was part of their experience, but it didn't have to be that way. And maybe it did, because otherwise it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And all contrast in a way serves. It gives us clarity, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Barbara's sitting there quietly. How you doing, Barbara? Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome, Lauren. It's awesome that you've embraced it and come to the little understanding that it is a lifestyle. That's the one thing that I saw right away when I read Arnold Ehret's book. This is a lifestyle. You can't just do an event and forget about it. It's a lifestyle. You got to keep continuing on the path. I understood that. It clicked with me right away, and it just doesn't click with most people. It boggles the mind, but the mind is only going to confuse us. So let that go.
I think in a way, if you are really committed to the doing and really immersing yourself in the process of that experience itself, then it comes through as a lifestyle, because there is no going back once you've tapped in and tuned in and turned on to that divinity of what that feels like, which words can't explain. And so when you even attempt to go back to a more dense state, that it's not in alignment. It's not necessarily what's serving. And so you're like, well, then I will love and live the lifestyle, because that's what feels good. Exactly.
But there's nothing wrong with eating, but there's consequences with what that happen when we do eat and what we eat. So we have to live it and love it, either whatever choices we make.
Right.
If we're going to choose to do the obstructive things, understand that we've made those choices and we're going to pay the consequences. So, let's not, beat ourselves up. Just
right.
You don't want to feel that. Don't do that again.
Yeah. But and if you're gonna do it, live and embrace the experience and then move on.
Right. Even with the pain and suffering that happens with it, move on, continue.
Yeah. But even it's like that belief system, right? When you're going to go consume anything, consumption of social media, consumption of food, consumption of any form, right? If you believe it's bad for you, then it will be, even if it's Concord grape juice. It's like it's like when you mention people who talk about not just it being cooked and all that stereotypical blah, but specifically the preservatives, like citric acid or whatever is added to it. It's like, okay, I know that I have a belief system that it needs to be organic. I want my specific grape juice and I can do that. But if you don't have the belief that those little whatever citric acid additives are bad, then you're the same off as me or anybody else. It's fine.
Let me put it in a different perspective. Hi, Gloria. When we're in an eating lifestyle, all that stuff matters.
Mm-hmm.
And and we're continuously taking in all those obstructions at all different levels all around us, breath, vision, touching, feeling, being exposed every which way. When you're in a fasting lifestyle and you're continuously putting yourself in a fasting state, specifically the dry fasting state, guess what? You're allowing the elimination of whatever you're accumulating. And that's the key.
Right.
So, but when we're in the elimination mode, which the ultimate is the dry fasting state, just like those tests have shown on the rats that were exposed to radiation when they were dry fasting, they were not affected at all, where the ones that were eating, got sick and some of them died. So what's the difference? It's the state they were in. That's the only difference. They were in a dry fasting state.
Wouldn't you say though, just to play advocate here, that if you were in a fasting state and you had the belief that those things were bad for you, that would have a different outcome?
I think higher order will overplay our belief system when there's that in the higher order is in play. But you're not going to be doing these things if you don't have some belief system that you're doing it for a correct reason. There's no reason for you to be dry fasting if you don't have any belief in it. If you believe that,
So maybe it wouldn't affect you necessarily like in the physical operation of elimination itself, but it would affect you in the way that you operate your way of the fast, as in breaking it or feeling depressed or that you're not worthy or whatever. In the emotion, it would affect you.
It would, like, emotion overrules. If you're in a continuously negative state that everything is bad for you and so on and so forth, and fasting is not good for you and you're doing it anyway,
Right.
I don't think you're going to have a great outcome with it. So, but this is why these studies they do on animals are profound, even though we shouldn't be doing any studies on animals. I don't agree with it, but they've already done it, so we can learn much from what happened. Animals don't have the ego, so the tests come out with much more truth than they would on humans, is in my opinion. There's no belief system in the way. They're just animals. You're doing the tests. You're splitting up the two categories, two different scenarios, and then you read the outcome. So just think about radiation. How much more poison do you want than radiation? There's nothing, much worse than radiation. And they're able to get through that in a dry fasting state. How's that? Citric acid, you're worried about citric acid? Okay, worry about citric acid. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
See the perspective I'm looking at it from?
Yeah, I see both. And yeah.
So you can worry about it. I'm not going to worry because, and I didn't know anything about these tests. I just learned about these tests actually last week. So why did I know that in a dry fasting state, as I said before, that you're not going to feel the effects of all these things. Your body's not going to accumulate any of these obstructions, because I went through it and I experienced it, and that's the information that I got. I didn't go through any science study.
So when you're dry fasting, let's say, okay, I'm day dry fast, but even just anywhere in even master fast is a glorified dry fast. If you go through some kind of stress, then it will just be eliminated.
It's much easier to eliminate. Absolutely. You can handle more stress when you're master fasting than when you're eating. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer for sure.
But I just found that because like how I had started, like I had a stressful situation happen, and literally my mouth, like right in the back, I don't know even what happened, because I got home and just noticed it, that I just had some like blood like come out of my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, but what's the sign of blood? If you've done your homework, you know, it's a sign of healing.
Yeah.
Don't be
But
scared when there's, unless blood's pouring out, that's a different story. But whenever you see a sign of blood, you see blood coming in the stool, maybe you might see a little bit of blood in the urine in a fasting state, jump for joy. Body's
yeah,
healing. Blood in your
yeah,
body's healing.
yeah,
That's
because
blood, you know, is anywhere there's action of healing, there has to be blood flow, because the blood is the sewer system. It has to remove the obstructions from the areas. There has to be blood flow. If there's
yeah,
no blood flow, there's no healing.
yeah. I was just saying it was a form of how it demonstrated that being in a fasting state, you eliminate, say, what no longer serves, regardless
Exactly.
of the
Absolutely.
initial negative or positive association it has with you, because you're eliminating. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
it's and you know, all these things, people go into the fear modes. They see blood. Oh, geez, man, how
Right.
many people freaked out? We had, you know, one woman that was bleeding for many years, you know, bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And then she was able to solve it in 108 days
Mhm.
doing a master fast. But, you know, then she decided to go back to her old lifestyle. And guess what?
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. I have super dry mouth, and I would love to talk more, but honestly, um, I
Yeah,
know
for the
it's
dry lips, coconut oil, just that'll, if it's bothering you, you know, just put a little bit of coconut oil and
it's
it'll
not really
really help.
not really bothering me, honestly, because those first 3 days of the dry fast, like, it was flaky and annoying, because also how it looked, it looks like you have some disease or something, but it's just elimination. It's not that it mattered. It's like that was more bothersome than just dry.
Yeah,
But um I
lots
just
going
know,
on in the bowels.
yeah, I just know that as I go to day 9 dry fast and then potentially day 12, it's going to get more dry. And
Not necessarily. Don't plan it out because you have no clue. You've not been there. And even if you have, it's a different experience. Every
okay.
day is a new experience.
Okay, thank you.
Don't expect anything on these journeys. Just embrace whatever comes and use the tools to get you through. That's it. Do not expect. When we start expecting things, we will be disappointed every time.
Okay.
Just embrace it. Come, whatever come, embrace it. Thank you. What do I need to do to get through this difficult situation if that happens? You know, you might have super energy. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Just keep going. But um, just, you know, don't have to be a hero. Just be prudent. Be prudent. Because, you know, even going on to 9 days, it's a long dry fast. And the biggest thing is breaking it.
Yeah, I know that.
That's much more challenging than doing it.
Yeah.
Much more. The longer you go, the more challenging it is. And that's why we highly suggest people live and love a lifestyle with choosing one of the levels so they can become adept at fasting and breaking the fast over and over and over and over and go through those experiences over and over. And as they do that, they start learning and, you know, experiencing what it's like, so they don't get shocked
Yeah.
doing a long one and then breaking that and going cuckoo. Yeah.
Here's also the thing, though, that's interesting from having those experiences that you're saying over and over and over. And I don't see this as my last dry fast, obviously. It's just one part of whatever the
Part of the
next.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's just eye-opening is the 6 month juice fast I did, having no solid, and then breaking it with soaked prunes. That was more euphoric than breaking my 1 out of the 5 70-day consistent master fast solid, with the bubbly and the juice. And then, because in the juice, I had not chewed a single thing for 6 months, half a year. Whereas with master fast, it just felt like a freaking breeze because of the plasma pudding. And I was like, well, okay, whatever other solid I'm going to introduce to then move out of this specific phase didn't feel any different than the plasma pudding. So I kind of see this dry into then the soft dry fast as like I already had a taste of breaking it in the way of being so dry and not touching water, and then touching water, and that felt more similar to the juice fast breaking than the master fast breaking. So I see as me now introducing water or any kind of liquid, right? The bubbly in this now soft dry after it's complete, more similar to like master fast, because of what had already transpired. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm just saying that I agree with you in having all these experiences and being prudent of breaking the fast, as it takes a wise man, to break the fast. So, yeah, I
Right.
agree.
Any fool can fast, but it takes a wise man to break a fast.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'll stay up. Can you remind me actually when's the days of the live calls? Wednesdays and Fridays?
Correct. We do
Right.
Wednesday at 3:06 and Fridays at 9 p.m. So
Okay.
this next Wednesday, I may not be able to be on it. We'll see. We might have some other arrangements that I have to take care of. But anyway, I'll keep people posted on the book on the Facebook group.
Okay.
So we haven't missed many in almost 7 years. We've been going and going and going. It's been fun. Been lots of fun. We've seen incredible transformations. It's just awesome. And it's great that we've been able to help people with this information. So we keep going as long as we can.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you for having me today, and it was a pleasure. And
You're welcome.
else watching, and either live like Barbara and Gloria or whoever on the replay, like just thanks for holding the space and being involved in this. And I'll see you guys around, like
All
clap.
right. Keep that
Bye.
plasma love flowing. Ciao. Thank you. Anybody else with any questions, or we can wrap it up? It's we're gone almost an hour and a half. Nice to see you guys joining, Barbara and Gloria. Alrighty. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's another great sharing from Lauren. Awesome. And have yourselves a great evening or morning or wherever you are. Ciao.